Hello everyone, Larry Satchwell here. I'm going to start this garden tour today in my basement. I'm trying to grow some lettuce because it's still too warm. The soil's too warm for it to germinate. I've had a lot of trouble. This is Cosmic Grissom from Baker Seeds, and it just hasn't come up. I've planted it twice in here. Tennis ball, I've gotten 2 plants so far to come up, one here and one here. I just planted these yesterday. Everything else in here is foxglove, and I may have started it too late, but I'm hoping it'll keep growing here and I can put it outside when the weather gets a little bit cooler and we have a little more rain. Let's go outside and take a look. Before we leave, this is underneath my grow lights here, and I turned it off because it looks so strange when you film it. We're gonna have a lot of traffic noise down here in the garden. Here's a mandevilla. I love the way these things open. They open up like a pinwheel. Isn't that beautiful? I only get 1 or 2 blooms a week. It has quite a few vines on it here. And there may be some flowers up on top of the gazebo I can't see. I've got one over here on the shady side, and I've got one on the sunny side. This one gets very little sunlight, direct sunlight. And the one on the other side doesn't look nearly as good. So this is it this one gets afternoon sun, but it's also shaded here by the Thumbelina and the moonflower. Look at these moonflower seeds. I could be overrun with those. I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes. But first of all, let's feed the fish. Well, the only thing we're harvesting right now is the okra, and we had a storm come through here the other day. Let me show you the results. We had a storm last night, and that's what happened to my okra. A little disappointed because I was still eating on it. So I'm going to try to rescue. This one completely broke off. So there's not a lot I can do for that. And this one completely broke off. Those are the only 2 that completely broke off, so I think I can pull up the others. I got one of my tomato cages that's not being used. I'm going to anchor it here with some rebarb. Got some baling twine. So I'll first anchor this one, and I can pull this one back up. So I'm going to gather up all of these old ones and slice them in half. It's like cutting into wood, and this is only because I missed a day of picking them. That's how fast they grow. But the chickens will love all of these seeds that you have in here. So I'm just going to quarter these, get the seeds out. I got these from Billy Ray, so I don't know if they're a hybrid or what, so I can't really save the seeds. If this happens to your okra, that means there's been a blood-sucking, not a blood-sucking, but a sucking insect on there. And I've noticed as I walk through here the last couple of days, there's been some stink bugs on there. Stink bugs are a bad problem in this garden, and I don't think the neem will take care of it. But I just try to pick them off. I hate their smell. But that's why these curled up. And I should have said, we're still getting some peppers too. We have a lot of peppers right now. There goes I don't know what that is. I don't think that's a carpenter bee. Carpenter bees are huge compared to the bumblebees, and I've seen very few bumblebees in here. Anyway, So I've got the okra back up here where it belongs. My good friend J.M. Kuno has a recipe he wants me to try. I'm gonna have to wait a few days and see if I can collect enough okra here to do that. It's getting over my head. I'll have to bring a ladder out here to pick it up. This echinacea, this one is really looking good. I think I might have asters on that flower there. I cut out the one stem that had it. I don't see it on anything else. I've been working on this. It's not easy. I have a lot of foxglove coming up. I'm not sure if that's reseeded. I'll know next spring because it's a biennial. If those die back, then they were from this plant this year. But I've got some seed and I gathered it and it's in the basement. I showed you that earlier. The Nicotina is looking great. The strawberry, it's just amazing. But I've been cleaning up over here and I did some work on this the other day. Let me show you that. I really want to get a handle on some of these flowers, like the balloon flowers right here that are pretty far apart from each other. This one is still marked. I have a little flag here, but not all of them are. So the ones that aren't, I'm going to put a little surveyor's flag here. It says balloon flower, for example, and this one right here. And here's another one. That way, in the late fall, early spring, I can redo these because these are going to die back. I need to do the same thing with everything here. I'll keep this verbena here inside this cage, but over here where the yarrow is, I want to try to map out where the white and where the blue end. So for that, I've got this surveyor's tape that you hang in trees and mark the ground with. And I'm going to use one of my flags here. It starts up here. And it goes right through here. Somewhere in the transition here is the blue. And I've already pulled up quite a bit of it, getting some of the older marks out. But I know that this is white. So I'll anchor that there. This will stay right here. I can't believe this strawberry plant. It has covered up here my grass. So of course I need to move that. But right here is a Shasta daisy. It's also covered. So I'm going to mark this because this will all die back. It hasn't rotted. It's in really wet, moisture ground here. It needs a little bit better drainage. But we've had rain after rain after rain. No flooding on our part, luckily, and we pray for those people in Mississippi and everywhere else where all the flooding's taking place. I want to plant some carrots and some potatoes today. As I said before, the ground's still too warm for lettuce, but I've been turning this over. At one time, this was just fresh manure, but I'm going to put these potatoes in some hay today. I'm going to call this mulch hay. Although it didn't start out as mulch hay, I got rained on my last trip with hay. So instead of paying a couple of bucks a bale, this is $8, but I can't feed it to the horses. I'm gonna spread this. This is some dry stuff that hasn't been rained on yet. I'll spread this on top. If you're of my age and have been gardening for a long time, you may remember the old organic gardening from Rodale Press. They sold it. They sold Rodale Press. So let me show you. This is what I mean. See this mold here? I can't feed that to the horses. My mother-in-law used to get it. It was so much better in the old days, I think, than what it was now. Kind of like Mother Earth News. I've got the second edition second volume of Mother Earth News. Those were the days. Anyway, back to the lander. We always wanted to go have 5 acres, and that's what we have right now. Yeah, you can't feed that. So, I don't think I'll get any potatoes off of this fall. It's just too late. But my mild climate here, especially with it warming up, I'm pretty sure that these will be okay and frost-free over the winter. And if they're not, I haven't lost anything, because what I'm planting are these little tiny marble-sized potatoes. And I'm just gonna toss them in here. We've got red and white. We had some blue potatoes. I had one last night from this spring. They just don't look right when you bake a blue potato. Oops, that's one right on top of the other. So I just got, I don't know, probably a dozen of these smaller potatoes. One of them was kind of old. And let me dispel a myth right now. I'm gonna get potatoes from these, but if you plant the cut off top of a carrot, you're not gonna get a carrot. Those videos that show you the cut off top and then they put it in the dirt and then they pull out a carrot, that's not it. That's not gonna happen. You might grow a carrot top, which isn't a bad thing, and it can go to seed, and then you can plant those seeds, but that's a 2-year process. All right, this was a bale. This was a bale I brought out here a few days ago, and it was part of that storm. So it's a little bit wet, and I do run the risk of these potatoes rotting before they sprout. But it's a small risk, and I'm willing to take it. So I'll finish this up here and show you the carrots. Can't feed that to a horse. So I think I talked about this on my other video at the middle of the month. I've been trying to see if I can cool down the soil here. It's at 75 degrees. That's on the really high side for lettuce. I doubt if it would sprout, but I am going to plant some carrots. Here's an onion I missed. Now, onions, let me go get that. As I was saying about the carrot, onions are different. We've got our onions in storage. This one's got some real soft spots on it. This one has some roots developed on it, and this one's coming out too. These will produce more onions. But if I just cut this root off, I'm not going to get an onion. I'm going to get some onion greens, and those are great in a salad, but I'm not going to get an onion. Anyway, I'm going to plant these while I'm out here. So I'm going to rake the soil up a little bit, and I'm going to plant these carrots right where this was. There's no reason to mess up that onion. I don't know what the soil temperature is here in the stuff that hasn't been covered. Carrots take longer to mature anyway, so it's not a bad thing to plant them right here. I'm going to plant them close. They also need to have moisture the entire time they're trying to germinate. So I'm going to put this first one in. Or is that golden? It's a short, stubby carrot. This is just a piece of plantation blind, or I don't know what they're called, but we recently placed one, and if you keep several of them, you'll have a supply for a long, long time. I reuse mine. So planting carrots, there's nothing to it. You want them about 1/4 of an inch deep. Spread them out as best you can. Not everyone's going to come up. My soil here is kind of like coffee grounds because of those crazy worms I have. Right here, carrot called Corral. These are both from Baker Creek. A ton of these. I will thin these out as they go and feed them to the carrot. Feed the thinnings go to the chickens and the horses. Tender sweet on this one. And this is from Pine Tree. Yeah, there's a few left in here. Julia and Kate liked these when they were living here. We'll plant this one. I think it's going to be outside or just on the edge. This one's a rainbow. Again, this is Pine Tree seeds. I get most of my seeds from Seeds and Such, Pine Tree, and Baker. And all of them will be running sales at the end of the year for like free shipping or 15% off. And I usually buy them before the first of the year. In this row, I'm going to try some spinach. I don't know if it'll come up. I need to look that up because I really don't know what the germination temperature should be. Spinach is a nice big seed, easy to plant. If you have small children, you can grow this in a flower pot and get them to eat spinach just like Popeye. Enough there for another row. I like to do this, especially in the spring, is Pine Tree's radish mix. And I just like to put a few, maybe a dozen or so in the row this length. It helps me identify the space if the carrots didn't come up. And it also breaks the ground. If you have hard ground, it breaks the ground for those carrots. Carrots are pretty tender when they're babies like that. And I don't know if the radishes will sprout or if they'll just go all tops and no bottoms, but we'll see. So just put a little dirt over these. And you notice I wasn't real fussy with this. I don't know what my dad would say. He was always, well, he never gardened and raised beds, but he would put a string out and make those rows so straight. I like to firm these in with the rake. Just tap the ground here where that gives good soil contact with the seeds for moisture. And then we'll cover them back up. I'll check on these in a couple days. As soon as they break the ground, I can take the styrofoam off. Easy peasy. And I can't wait until that soil cools off a little bit for lettuce. So let's finish the garden tour. I mentioned a while ago that the moonflower might get out of control. Well, earlier in my summer videos, you might have heard me complaining that I couldn't find cypress vine. Well, it found me. There was a cypress vine on top of the gazebo last year, and now it is everywhere. And it's time for it to go. I can still see the bronze fennel under there, and I can smell it if I reach in there. But next year, I need to have 1 or 2 cypress vines, not this overtaken cypress vines that I have today. I should have planted some more zinnias in here. This one is just gone. It's not going to come back. I did get this plant a few days ago. One of the greenhouses was having a sale. It's going to look pretty next spring. I was really surprised to even bloom this fall. My banana pepper got blown over too. Karen doesn't use these much in cooking, but I think I'm going to try to make some banana pepper pickles here coming up. I got my okra back up, as you can see, and these are some cucumbers I planted here about 2.5, 3 weeks ago. I've got an edible weed here called purslane, I think. I really don't care for it that much. To me, it tastes like grass, but you can steam it or eat it raw in salads. It's supposed to have a nutty, crunchy flavor, but I don't find it that way. Is that Tofina, I think it is. Um, it got several branches blown off on it. I've got some sunflowers coming up over here. One of those got blown over the other day. I'm trying to put them between these strings. This is a Penta I accidentally pulled up when I was weeding over here. This one did get blown over. I've set it back up, but it looks pretty sad. Whoa! What is that? That wasn't there yesterday. Let's go check that out. It's a balloon in the pecan tree with a card attached to it. Eli, Jan, Garrett, Liam, Caleb, Luke, and Peter. Hi, we're doing a travel experiment. Doesn't say where they're from. If you find this card, please email it to us and tell us where you found it. Please include the leaders' names, grade, and bottom at the bottom of this card. So leader Jay's 4th grade. Doesn't say where they're from. Kids Life. Well, we'll have to do that. It also says the balloon is biodegradable. What Here's fun. Another one of my Jerusalem artichokes that got blown over. I've pulled it back up, but it's really weak down here at the root. I've had something eating on those, and I think I made a video of that if I can find it. Here it is. Aphids on my Jerusalem artichoke here. These are soft-bodied insects. I'm going to use some neem oil, N-E-E-M. It's from the neem tree. It's effective for these soft-bodied insects like this, and it should take care of them. You can spray it every 3 days. It's only effective when it's wet. Once it dries, it doesn't do its job. But I've got some problems here, and I've got something eating on the other one down there. So I'll do that in a second. But right now I'm going to spray these. Down here is a different problem. Woolly worms. I think the neem oil will take care of it, but it also has some aphids on it. I don't know what those dots are. The dark spots I'm seeing from the bottom is actually poo from the caterpillars. So while I've got it down here, I'm going to pick these off. They have really been busy eating those leaves. I'll have to keep a close eye on this. This has actually got some bloom buds on top there. And it's over 8 feet tall. I'll leave you today here with the butterfly. Where is he? I want to give a shout out to one of my viewers, a genealogist. I'm not going to give her name because I don't want her overwhelmed with genealogy work, but she did look up my mother's heritage here and help me out with that. I appreciate that. And I also appreciate the feedback I've been getting from my Sunday morning it happened this week videos. I carry my camera wherever I go here in the garden and find shots like this and just start snapping away. There he goes. See you next time. Thank you for watching.